Well, we have news coming in with respect to the state of the economy, and we're getting to hear that the retail inflation has gone up to 4.38% in the month of May. This is as per government data, and it's been reported that it's now at 4.38% in June compared to 3.93% in the month of May, mainly due to higher prices of food items. This is as per the data that was released by the government earlier today. The food inflation is based on the consumer price index, which was 5.32% in June, higher than 4.78% in the month of May. And the government has also mandated the RBI to ensure that headline inflation remains at 4% with a margin of 2% on either side. So that's the big takeaway, that because of high food inflation, the retail inflation has now gone up a notch. Let me go across to my colleague Kuldeep Singh, who will take us through more details. Kuldeep, how much of this is actually attributable to what's been happening in the Middle East? Because in the month of May and the early part of June, there was some relief by way of a memorandum that was signed between the United States and Iran. However, things have now returned to what they were on the 28th of February. What's the reason behind the numbers that we see as far as inflation is concerned?
Well, yeah, you see the inflation figure for June has been released, and it's 4.38% year on year, which is, you see, higher than RBI's medium-term target of 4%. And this is first time. And in fact, if we take see the past, then it's at 18 months high, which is quite high. The inflation and food inflation here, it is 5.32%. That is also high. Now, coming to your question that you asked, that how much is due to the West Asia crisis. So, if you look at the items that have reported higher inflation here, so the jewelry is there and the food products are there. And if you look at the restaurants and accommodation services, there the inflation is at 6.91%. That is higher, which shows that the impact of the shortage of supply, the gas and fuel, and because of that, the prices in the restaurants has increased. So this is reflected here. Apart from this, the food and beverage inflation, you see it's 5.05%, and the palm tobacco 4.83%. So yes, overall the impact of West Asia crisis is also visible when we look at these numbers. And apart from this, the food inflation, the increase in the prices of food products is also the reason that we are seeing this inflation at 18 months high, and in fact crossing the RBI's medium-term target of 4% for the first time, like in the last few months.
And Kuldeep, what are the forecasts? Because in the month of June, there was also, of course, an upward revision to a total cumulative figure of 7 rupees as far as the prices of petrol and diesel were concerned in India. And that's, of course, because of the daily losses that OMCs had incurred for an extended period of time. And, of course, what was happening in West Asia as well. Now that the crisis in West Asia has once again resurfaced, and both Iran as well as the United States are back at war, and given the fact that the Strait of Hormuz remains choked, what happens next? What do the forecasts say about possible indicators vis-a-vis inflation the next month?
So you see, we will see this trend in inflation, because even if there has been this crisis has been resolved, still the impact would have been reflected for a couple of more months.
Yes.
Because you see, the disruption in the supply chain that we saw in the month of March, and in fact then in April. Right. So the impact of that was not visible as big during those months.
Sure.
But in the economics, this is what we see, that in the coming months, the impact of that supply chain disruption that will become visible in the coming months. So this trend we will see, the upward trend we will see. How much
All right,
that will have to...
Yes. Thanks a lot for the updates that you've given us. We also have Mr. Ajay Bagga, market expert, joining us for his perspective on these latest numbers that have now been released. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Bagga. How do you read these numbers? The reason I ask you specifically about whether or not we're headed for tougher times ahead vis-a-vis inflation is because there was an upward revision of petrol and diesel prices in the month of June. And after that, of course, there was an MOU that was signed, which gave a lot of people hope that prices might stabilize. But once the war is now resurfaced, what's the forecast now looking ahead?
Absolutely. And if you recall, Hardeep Puri has said that in the first 3 months, the oil marketing companies, the public sector oil marketing companies, made 75,000 crores loss. So he said that the gains from lower crude oil will first be given to the public sector oil marketing companies, and then there would be a rate cut. There would be a cut in the price. So we are not expecting the price to go down for the next 3 months at least. This number is as per expectations. We were expecting 4.3. It has come slightly higher than that. The two major issues facing the economy, one is, of course, this petrol and diesel price hike, which is flowing through the entire economy. Second is if the poor monsoon translates into higher food prices 2 to 3 months down the line.
Right.
That could...
Right, Mr. Bagga. Thanks a lot for the perspective that you shared with us. So a poor monsoon as well as the price rise that we've already witnessed, it's not looking very bright in the next couple of months is what market experts feel. Let's